Ever wondered why some people seem to navigate life's toughest storms with unwavering calm? In this video, we'll dive into 2 foundational daily habits from Stoic philosophy that can transform your inner world, making you truly unstoppable. Imagine for a moment if your greatest power wasn't in wealth or status, but in an unshakable inner peace, resilience, and clarity of thought. What if you could build a fortress within yourself that no external force could breach? That's the promise of truly mastering your mind and emotions. It's not about being emotionless, but about cultivating a strategic distance from life's inevitable ups and downs, allowing you to choose your response rather than being swept away by immediate reactions. This journey isn't just about avoiding suffering. It's about actively shaping your perception, your reactions, and ultimately, your entire experience of life. It's about understanding that while the world outside can be chaotic and unpredictable, your inner world can be a sanctuary of strength and wisdom. ## work on your mind every day. Have you ever felt like your thoughts were a runaway train, spiraling into worry or negativity? This isn't just an inconvenience. It's a direct assault on your most vital asset, your mind. The Stoics understood that your mind is your personal empire, the one domain truly and unequivocally under your control. Every single day, you are either strengthening this empire or allowing it to erode. Think of it as a muscle that atrophies without consistent effort. This daily practice isn't passive. It demands active engagement. It means making a conscious choice to feed your mind wisdom, just as you would nourish your body with healthy food. This is why reading isn't just a hobby for the Stoics. It's a sacred ritual, a direct conduit to the accumulated wisdom of the ages. By immersing yourself in the thoughts of great thinkers, you expand your own intellectual and philosophical toolkit, gaining new perspectives and solutions to age-old human dilemmas. It's about learning from those who have walked similar paths, offering you shortcuts and insights you might otherwise spend years discovering on your own. Beyond intellectual nourishment, working on your mind means actively protecting it. Our modern world is a cacophony of noise, distractions, and negativity, constantly vying for our attention. Social media feeds, sensationalized news, and the opinions of others can easily pollute your inner landscape. Protecting your mind means building mental boundaries, discerning what you allow in and what you filter out. It's about choosing your inputs as carefully as you choose your companions. This deliberate filtering prevents overthinking, that insidious habit of replaying scenarios and generating anxieties that often never materialize. It's about cultivating an internal quiet, a space where genuine thought can flourish, undisturbed by the incessant chatter of the external world. Journaling, for instance, is an incredibly powerful tool in this endeavor. It's not merely writing down events, but an opportunity to reflect on your emotions, to understand the triggers that stir your inner world, and to process experiences without judgment. It's a dialogue with yourself, allowing you to untangle complex thoughts and gain clarity on your inner workings. One of the most profound shifts in mental practice comes from reframing adversity. The common human reaction to hardship is often, "Why is this happening to me?" This question, while understandable, frames you as a victim, powerless against external forces. The Stoic approach encourages a pivotal shift. What is this trying to teach me? This reorientation transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth, turning pain into a classroom. It empowers you to extract valuable lessons from every setback, making you wiser and more resilient with each challenge. It's the difference between being knocked down and learning how to stand up stronger, or simply remaining on the ground. Consider the Stoic practice of negative visualization, a counterintuitive yet incredibly potent technique. Instead of always focusing on what you want, you deliberately spend time contemplating the loss of what you cherish: your health, your loved ones, your possessions, or even your very life. This isn't morbid. It's a profound appreciation exercise. By imagining these losses, you develop a deeper gratitude for what you currently possess, and you inoculate yourself against the shock and despair of potential future adversity. When you mentally rehearse losing something, the actual event, should it occur, loses some of its power to devastate. You've already prepared for it, strengthened your mental resolve, and understood that even in loss, life continues and your core self remains intact. This practice doesn't eliminate pain, but it changes your relationship with it, transforming it from an overwhelming force into a manageable part of the human experience. It builds a psychological buffer, making your mind less susceptible to the tyranny of external circumstances and more robust in the face of inevitable change. Work on your emotions every day. We've all experienced moments where an emotion, whether it's blinding anger or crushing sadness, felt like it had complete control over us. We reacted impulsively, said things we regretted, or withdrew when we should have engaged. This common human experience highlights a fundamental truth. Emotional mastery is not merely a desirable trait, but one of the highest forms of strength a human being can cultivate. It's the ultimate indicator of self-possession, attained when you move beyond being a slave to your feelings and become their discerning master. The ancient philosopher Seneca famously observed, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This profound insight underscores the fact that much of our emotional turmoil isn't a direct result of external events, but rather our interpretation and anticipation of them. Our minds often amplify potential problems, dwelling on worst-case scenarios that rarely, if ever, come to pass. The fear of suffering frequently outweighs the suffering itself. The daily work of emotional mastery begins with observation, a practice akin to stepping back and witnessing your own internal landscape without judgment. Imagine an emotion, like anger or sadness, arising within you. Instead of immediately reacting, you pause. You acknowledge its presence, perhaps even naming it. Anger is here. This simple act of observation creates a crucial space between the stimulus and your response. It's a moment of deliberate choice, allowing you to ask, how do I choose to respond to this feeling, rather than simply being swept away by it. This is the essence of emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. The goal here isn't to suppress emotions or pretend they don't exist. That would be both impossible and unhealthy. Instead, it's about cultivating emotional distance. Think of it like watching a play. You are in the audience, observing the drama unfold on stage, rather than being one of the actors caught up in the immediate emotion of the scene. This distance doesn't diminish the reality of the emotion, but it prevents it from hijacking your rational mind and dictating your actions. It empowers you to respond thoughtfully and constructively, aligning your actions with your values, rather than reacting impulsively out of fleeting feeling. This practice is particularly vital in moments of conflict or high stress. When confronted with an irritating colleague, a disappointing outcome, or an unexpected setback, the untrained mind reacts instantly, often with frustration or despair. The mind that has practiced emotional distance, however, pauses. It observes the rising irritation, acknowledges it, and then consciously chooses a more effective and peaceful response. Perhaps it's a calm discussion, a strategic withdrawal, or simply a deep breath and a reframing of the situation. What if the one thing holding you back from your dreams isn't a lack of talent or opportunity, but a lack of something far more fundamental? A muscle you've forgotten to train? Let's talk about the silent killer of all great ambitions, the absence of discipline. It's the reason why New Year's resolutions die in February, why gym memberships gather dust, and why brilliant ideas remain just that, ideas, trapped in the notebooks of those who couldn't show up when it mattered. Discipline is the engine of consistency, and without it, even the most magnificent ship of dreams is dead in the water, destined to rust in the harbor of good intentions. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, perhaps one of the most disciplined men to have ever lived, didn't see his daily duties as a chore. He saw them as progress. He understood a profound truth that we often forget. Motivation is a fleeting, unreliable friend. It visits when it pleases and leaves without warning. Discipline, however, is the loyal soldier that stands guard, day in and day out. It is the force that gets you out of bed on a cold morning when your mind begs for the warmth of the covers. It's the voice that pushes you to write one more page, make one more call, or run one more mile, even when every fiber of your being screams for comfort. This isn't about punishment or self-flagellation. In fact, the Stoics would argue that discipline is the highest form of self-love. It's the act of honoring the promises you make to your future self. It is choosing the person you want to become over the person you are in this moment of weakness. Every time you feel that internal negotiation begin, that little voice that says, just 5 more minutes, or you can do it tomorrow, that is the moment of truth. That is the battlefield. Winning that small internal war is how you build an empire of self-respect. So, how do you start building this unstoppable force within you? It begins with a single, deliberate act. Make one small promise to yourself each morning and keep it, no matter what. It could be as simple as making your bed the moment you get up, or drinking a glass of water before your coffee, or reading 10 pages of a book without distraction. The size of the promise doesn't matter. What matters is the act of keeping it. Each time you follow through, you are training your ability to command yourself. You are casting a vote for the person who is in control, the person who doesn't negotiate with mediocrity. Do this every single day, and soon you will have forged a will of iron. You will become the master of your own mind, not its servant. You will become unstoppable. But what happens when you've built this incredible discipline, yet you still feel like you're just spinning your wheels, working hard, but going nowhere? What if I told you there is a force more powerful than discipline that gives it all meaning? A North Star that guides every action and turns daily effort into a grand legacy? Imagine 2 men, both chopping wood with immense discipline. They rise at dawn, their axes fall with a steady rhythm, and they work until dusk. From the outside, their efforts look identical. But the first man is chopping wood simply to sell it, to make a living, to get through the day. The second man is chopping wood to build a home for his family, a place of warmth, safety, and love. Which man do you think will tire less? Which man will find strength when his muscles ache and the sun beats down? The man with a purpose. That is the difference. Purpose is the why that fuels the how. It's the compass that prevents you from drifting aimlessly in the vast ocean of life, tossed about by the waves of fleeting desires and the currents of comfort-seeking. Without a purpose, discipline is just motion. It's activity without direction. You can be the most productive person in the world, ticking off tasks and clearing your inbox, but if it doesn't align with a deeper meaning, you will eventually burn out, feeling hollow and unfulfilled. Purpose isn't about some grandiose, world-changing mission, although it can be. It's about waking up in the morning and knowing that your existence creates value, that your actions contribute to something larger than your own comfort or success. It's about, as the Stoics would say, living according to nature. This doesn't mean retreating to the woods. It means aligning your life with your highest self with reason, with virtue, and with a sense of duty to the human community. Your purpose is what gets you through the inevitable obstacles. The Stoics had a radical perspective on challenges. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When you have a clear purpose, an obstacle is no longer a roadblock. It's a detour that reveals a new part of the map. It's a test designed to make you stronger, smarter, and more resilient. The frustration of a failed project becomes a lesson in humility. The betrayal of a colleague becomes a chance to practice forgiveness. The struggle itself becomes part of your purpose. So ask yourself today, why do you do what you do? dig deeper than to pay the bills or because I have to. Find that fire, that reason for building the home, not just chopping the wood. Work on clarifying that purpose every single day, and you will unlock a source of energy that never runs dry. But even with discipline and a powerful purpose, there is a final, formidable enemy that can sabotage everything. It's an internal enemy, a saboteur that lives within your own mind, whispering temptations and hijacking your best intentions. So, what is this final battle you must win every day to truly become the master of your fate? Imagine a king who rules a vast and prosperous land. He has disciplined armies and a noble purpose for his kingdom. Yet, in his own castle, he is a prisoner. He cannot resist the sweetest wines, the richest foods, or the flattery of his courtiers. His every whim becomes a command, his every impulse a law. Is this man truly a king, or is he a slave, chained by the gold of his own desires? This is the essence of self-control. The Stoics defined it as true freedom. Without it, you can have all the discipline and purpose in the world, but you will remain a slave to your impulses, your moods, and your appetites. You are not free if you cannot say no to yourself. Self-control is the quiet power to hold your ground. It's the strength to choose silence when your anger wants to shout. It's the resolve to choose discipline when your body craves one more hour of mindless scrolling. It is the sovereignty over your own inner kingdom. Every day presents 1,000 opportunities to practice this. The battle is fought not on a grand stage, but in the small moments, the choice between a healthy meal and a sugary snack, the decision to turn off the television and pick up a book, the restraint to hold your tongue instead of speaking a harsh word. Each time you choose the harder, better path, you strengthen the muscle of self-control. A powerful Stoic practice for mastering this is mastering indulgence. Pay close attention to what you consume, not just food, but information, entertainment, and the validation of others. Are you a slave to the next notification, the next episode, the next like? The Stoics also practiced voluntary discomfort. This could mean taking a cold shower, fasting for a day, or sleeping on the floor. The point is not to torture yourself, but to remind your body and mind that luxury is a preference, not a necessity. It's to teach yourself that you can endure hardship, that your well-being is not dependent on external comforts. By intentionally stepping out of your comfort zone, you break the chains of indulgence. You prove to yourself that you are the one in command. Work on this every day. Master your impulses before they master you. When you combine this unbreakable self-control with relentless discipline and a guiding purpose, you create a trinity of power. You become the person who can not only withstand the storms of life, but use their winds to sail further. You become the architect of your own character, the captain of your own soul. You become, in a word, unstoppable. But there is still one final secret, a shift in perspective so profound that it can turn even the greatest tragedies into your greatest strengths. What do you think that could be? Do you ever feel like you're constantly rushing, chasing an invisible finish line, and getting frustrated when things don't happen immediately? Have you ever felt that gnawing impatience, that deep-seated need for instant gratification, hijacking your peace of mind and whispering doubts into your ear? Imagine, for a moment, a different path. Imagine cultivating a power so profound, yet so often overlooked, that it can transform your journey from a frantic sprint into a masterful, strategic ascent. What if the very act of waiting could become your greatest strength, your secret weapon against the chaos of the modern world? I remember a young entrepreneur I mentored, Sarah. She had poured her heart and soul into launching her tech startup, working tirelessly, often sleeping only a few hours a night. The initial traction was slow, almost agonizingly so. Every day, she'd refresh her analytics, looking for that explosive growth, that viral moment. She'd call me, her voice tinged with despair. "It's not working, John. I'm doing everything right, but nothing's happening. Maybe I should just pivot or give up. I listened, and then I asked her to tell me about her garden. Sarah, surprisingly, was an avid gardener. She spoke of planting tiny seeds, of nurturing saplings, of how she couldn't force a rose to bloom overnight. She understood the seasons, the slow, unseen work beneath the soil. Exactly, I told her. Your business is a garden. You've planted the seeds, you're watering them, you're tending to them. But you cannot command the bloom. You must trust the process. Trust your effort, even when the results are invisible. She took a deep breath. It wasn't an immediate fix, but it was a crucial shift. She learned to celebrate the small, incremental growths, the subtle changes, understanding that no great thing is created suddenly. Over time, her patience became her bedrock. She stopped reacting to every minor setback with panic and started seeing them as part of the natural cycle of growth, much like a gardener dealing with a late frost. Her persistence, fueled by this newfound patience, eventually led to the breakthrough she sought. But it was because she stayed the course, allowing her vision to ripen slowly, not despite it. The truth is, true power lies in control, not over external circumstances, but over your own impulses. Patience is that very power under control. It's the silent acknowledgement that growth, in any meaningful endeavor, is a slow, iterative process built through consistent, often monotonous, repetition. It's what teaches you endurance, the ability to weather storms, and humility, the understanding that you are not the master of time, but its diligent student. When impatience rears its head, it's often the ego, distrusting the journey, demanding a shortcut. But by embracing patience, by consciously choosing to defer gratification and trust the unseen work, you cultivate an unstoppable resilience that few can match. You become unshakable, an individual who understands that the deepest roots grow in the longest silence. Now, let's talk about silence. In our noisy, always-on world, isn't it almost revolutionary to simply stop to intentionally step away from the constant barrage of notifications, opinions, and chatter? When was the last time you truly sat in profound silence, not just without sound, but without the relentless internal monologue, the endless stream of judgment and planning? What if I told you that within that quiet space lies a superpower, a strategic advantage that allows you to observe, to listen, and ultimately to discover the wellspring of true wisdom? Consider David, a senior executive grappling with a highly contentious merger. His inbox was overflowing with conflicting reports, his phone buzzed incessantly with urgent calls, and his team was fractured by anxiety and infighting. Every meeting dissolved into a shouting match, and David found himself constantly reacting, extinguishing fires, and feeling utterly drained. He was trapped in a whirlwind of noise, both external and internal. One evening, after yet another frustrating day, he remembered an old Stoic principle he'd once read: be silent for the most part, or speak only what is necessary. He decided to try it. The next morning, instead of diving straight into emails, he woke up an hour earlier and simply sat. No phone, no news, no music, just silence. At first, his mind raced, replaying conversations, generating to-do lists. But he persisted. Gradually, the mental chatter began to subside. He started to notice patterns, connections he'd missed in the rush. He realized that much of the urgent communication was merely noise, triggering emotional responses that clouded his judgment. During the day, he consciously chose to speak less in meetings, opting to listen intently, observing body language and the underlying currents of conversation. When he did speak, his words were fewer, more deliberate, and impactful. His team, initially surprised by his quiet demeanor, started to mirror it. The atmosphere in the office shifted. By embracing silence, David conserved immense mental and emotional energy, stopped reacting impulsively to nonsense, and deepened his thought processes. allowing his inner wisdom, his calm, strategic voice, to finally be heard. He didn't just solve the merger. He transformed his leadership style, becoming a beacon of calm authority in a storm. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a profound strategy. It allows you to step back from the fray, to observe the dynamics at play, and to truly listen, not just to others, but to the often ignored wisdom residing within yourself. This deliberate quiet conserves your most precious resource, energy. It prevents you from being swept away by emotional reactions to every fleeting provocation, every piece of nonsense that crosses your path. By cultivating silence, you create the mental space necessary for deep thought, allowing your intuition, your inner voice, to rise above the cacophony. It's a superpower that grants you clarity, strategic insight, and the ability to act with intention rather than mere reaction. Just as a calm pond reflects the clearest image, a quiet mind perceives the truest reality. Now, let's shift gears completely. In a world saturated with advertising, with social media feeds constantly showcasing what others have and what you could have, do you ever feel that gnawing ache of dissatisfaction? That relentless whisper of not enough? Do you find yourself caught in the endless loop of comparison, where joy feels fleeting and contentment is an elusive mirage? What if there was an anchor, a simple yet profoundly powerful practice that could not only protect you from this corrosive negativity, but also unlock an unparalleled sense of abundance and inner peace, regardless of your external circumstances? Let me tell you about Maria. Maria had always been a go-getter, ambitious and driven. She climbed the corporate ladder swiftly, acquired a beautiful home, and traveled extensively. By all external measures, she was a success. Yet, she felt a persistent emptiness. She constantly compared herself to friends who had more prestigious titles, bigger houses, or seemingly perfect relationships. I have to work these long hours, she'd sigh. I have to go to this event. I have to buy that new car to keep up. She was trapped in a cycle of having to, which bred resentment and dissatisfaction. One day, after a particularly draining week, a friend suggested she start a gratitude journal. Maria scoffed. What do I have to be grateful for when I'm constantly chasing the next thing? She thought. But out of sheer exhaustion, she tried it. The first few days were hard. She felt forced. But then a subtle shift began. She started noticing the small things. The warmth of her morning coffee, the sound of laughter from her neighbors, the comfort of her bed. Instead of, I have to wake up early for work, she wrote. I get to wake up and pursue a career I built. Instead of, I have to cook dinner, she wrote. I get to nourish my body and share a meal with loved ones. The change wasn't dramatic overnight, but it was profound. She began to see her life not as a series of obligations, but as a collection of gifts. Her focus shifted from what she lacked to what she had . The envy and greed that had subtly controlled her began to recede because she genuinely felt she had enough, more than enough. Maria discovered that gratitude wasn't just a fleeting emotion. It was a powerful anchor, steadying her against the turbulent waters of negativity and comparison. Gratitude is precisely that anchor against the relentless tide of negativity that threatens to pull us under. It is the conscious, deliberate act of shifting your perspective from I have to the immensely empowering I get to. This simple reframe is a recognition that the present moment, indeed life itself, is a temporary gift, not an entitlement or a guarantee. It's a profound appreciation for what is rather than a longing for what T*. When you cultivate gratitude, you become profoundly resilient to the controlling forces of envy and greed. A truly grateful person, one who genuinely feels they already have enough, cannot be easily swayed by the lure of more or the sting of comparison. They walk through life with an inner richness that no external possession can provide, becoming masters of their own contentment, unburdened by the endless pursuit of external validation. And once you master these three virtues, patience, silence, and gratitude, you unlock an inner fortitude that truly makes you unstoppable. The journey continues, and so does your growth. How many times have you chased external validation, only to find it crumbling when no one was watching? We all have moments where we present one face to the world and another to ourselves. But what if the most powerful habit you could cultivate is the one that truly defines you when the cameras are off? Imagine a young entrepreneur, fresh out of college, starting his first business. He's brilliant, charismatic, and his pitches are legendary. Everyone believes in him. He secures funding, hires a team, and the company takes off. But behind the scenes, he's cutting corners, making promises he can't keep, and taking credit for his team's hard work. For a while, it works. The public sees a rising star. Yet, slowly, almost imperceptibly, his team starts to lose trust. Investors begin to notice inconsistencies. His brilliant facade starts to crack. Eventually, the business fails, not because of a bad market or a lack of talent, but because his foundation, his character, was built on sand. He learned the hard way that success without integrity is, as the Stoics believed, failure in its truest form. This story highlights a crucial truth. Character is who you are when no one's watching, and it's something that simply cannot be faked in the long run. It's not about grand gestures. It's meticulously built through those small, silent choices you make every single day. Do you uphold your word even when it's inconvenient? Are you honest when there's no immediate consequence for being otherwise? These are the quiet acts that forge the steel of your inner being. The Stoics, those ancient masters of self-mastery, understood this deeply. For them, virtue was not just a good quality. It was the highest good, the very essence of a well-lived life. They taught that true success isn't measured by external accolades, but by the integrity with which you pursue them. Working on your character daily means constantly examining your motives, being brutally honest with yourself, and striving to live transparently, ensuring that your inner world aligns perfectly with your outer actions. It's a continuous, humbling process of self-improvement, but it's the bedrock upon which all lasting achievement and genuine respect are built. Now, imagine that same entrepreneur, but this time, after his initial setback, he commits to a different path. He starts by understanding that the frantic pursuit of external validation was itself a source of his undoing. He begins to see that the constant striving, the fear of judgment, and the desperate need to control every outcome were eroding something far more precious than any business deal: his inner peace. He learns to filter out the relentless noise of opinions, the endless arguments online, and the sensational headlines screaming for his attention. He recognizes that true calm isn't found in a quiet room or a remote island, but deep within himself. He starts his mornings not by checking emails or social media, but by sitting in silence, focusing on his breath, and accepting the things he cannot change. He shifts his focus to what is within his control: his actions, his reactions, and his perspective. This brings us to what I believe is the final and greatest daily work: cultivating your inner peace. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about mastering your response to it. As the timeless wisdom reminds us, nowhere you can go is more peaceful ... than your own soul. True peace isn't granted by external circumstances. It's built from within, through consistent discipline and a deliberate shift in perspective. It means refusing to let the endless external chaos, the fleeting opinions of others, the heated arguments, the sensational headlines designed to disturb your mind, infiltrate your sanctuary. It's an active choice to accept what you cannot control, to let go of what isn't yours to bear, and to focus your energy entirely on what you can influence: your thoughts, your values, and your actions. This daily practice of cultivating inner peace transforms your relationship with the world. You become less reactive, more resilient, and ultimately more present. It's the ultimate form of self-sovereignty, allowing you to navigate life's inevitable storms with a quiet strength that no external force can shake. So if you're ready to truly become unstoppable, start by building your character when no one is watching, and then fortify your inner peace against the world's chaos. If these insights resonate with you, hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and comment below with one habit you're committing to work on every day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more wisdom that will help you transform your daily life.